And we're live. It says we're live.
Yeah. Okay.
Always.
Okay. Wait, we need to enter into this with this again.
Yeah. But
because we had an update on the streaming software, we had some voice issues, and we actually don't know if everybody hears us or not.
yeah.
We will see.
I'm on another screen here off to the side just to make sure everything's running all right.
And we have a spy who's will tell us.
It looks like it's working. I can now see the screen now. So
okay.
leave us a comment, get into the chat.
And forgive us for
yeah.
just in case we have a problem. I mean, it will not be the last time that we go live, I guess.
Yeah.
So welcome back. In this time we call it the broadcast the State of the Nation.
Yeah. Okay.
So, okay, we basically we are in the business of luxury and fun, and but we also want to talk about some stuff which is probably not so much fun, and perhaps I think everybody on this planet can see obviously that we are deeply moved and concerned about something which we would never have expected to happen in Europe again. But obviously it happened, and we would like to spend a couple of discussions and slides on that and see if our little hobby can help to make the world a better place.
Yeah. It's our world kind of turned upside down. Everybody's world turned upside down in over the last few weeks. And personally, my great grandmother and grandfather came from Ukraine, so there's some family ties there, and it's unfortunate, really deeply unfortunate. It's extremely sad what's happening right now. So we're going to talk a little bit today about some of your ideas, some of our ideas, how we think that we can help in the situation. And obviously in the chat, I see we got Artur here already. We have some things we want to talk about from him as well, our friend from Poland, and to get some input. So let us know in the chat if you're here, and we'll go on with the show here.
Go on,
Yeah.
So let's jump to something which a donation update, let's call it like this, which probably leads us to another thing then. And a lot of people actually participated last year's Tourbillon 1 charitable draw kind of thing.
Yeah, giveaway.
So there were a lot of happy people who got these samples, and we effectively raised quite some money, and part of that money was dedicated for the watchmaking school in Grenchen. Actually, Simon was one of our former employees, and he was working on the K1, so he has a deep connection to that. And we asked him, okay, what do you need for the students to work with? And now we have come to the conclusion, so more or less still some researching to be done, and talking to the school authorities what is needed. But basically what he said, what they need is a Horage set. That's kind of a tool where you adjust the joules in the height. So it's in Germany and Steinschiebeset.
Steinschiebeset. And this is done by hand, or?
Yeah, it's by hand. It's a little thing, and then you can adjust the height.
It's a little different than the one we have, right?
Yeah, we have an automatic one, the Axnum, but you can basically do, when you do some fine or after adjustments and you don't want to set up a machine, you use that by hand. And for the students, that's the right thing. Then these Renfer rings, that's kind of an industrial, these are the round rings which we use for doing our assembly.
The sushi trays.
The sushi trays, just no sushi, this is movements. Then some of this stuff actually with this kind of thing, this camera that's called an Elmo, it's a high resolution projector, which they really need and want to use, and that's very helpful. And we recommended to have this for the students, and probably they can broadcast out of the school into the future, into the world.
You've all seen.
Who knows? Like we do that
Zoom
here.
Yeah.
And we thought, since Marco is one of our background spies here, trying to figure out if we're doing the whole software thing in the right way, and an engineer,
and making sure our YouTube shows get
and he got nerdy about 3D printing. bought actually a 3D printer, if I'm not completely wrong, from a Polish maker, which is one of these market leaders right now. And Simon said, yeah, that would be probably something for the students to print out some mechanisms in larger scale, and that would help. So we have identified roughly 10,000 Swiss francs of equipment for them, which we will go sourcing, and we will continue to report on that. Yeah. And the rest of the money should go to these watchmakers. We are still trying to figure out how to do that. And and that's where we are going to. So pretty much from there, this donation thing should bring us to our to the awful problem we are facing here in Europe. And some people said, that's a little bit of a problem. Can we talk about watches still? The world is in misery, but at the end of the day, and effectively we know people who needed to leave this area, and then we said, but we shouldn't actually completely forego all the fun in the world, and probably think about, is there a way that we can do something with watches? Can our products contribute to something? Can we use our products to do something? And could be, and you coined that term, could be watches a force of good. I think that's very important, because when you look at all the people who are fleeing from their homes, it's awful. And
it's 3 million people.
It's 3 million people up
so
to
far,
now. I think I need to turn down the tone a little bit, because we're a little bit red here. So.
We should be all right.
Yeah, it should be all right. And and this, basically everybody knows that that nobody needs watches. Yeah, we are always confronted with this kind of thing, and even we confront ourselves. But on the other hand, when you wrote your last newsletter, I thought we got a very nice email from someone back, and you were talking about, is it perhaps helpful, or does our society need some sort of useless things? And in order to keep the fun of it in our societies, and perhaps it is fundamentally important that societies and people enjoy things. Because if everything is negative and everything is bad, then the world will not get better. And perhaps these kind of little useless things in life can help to make the world a more fun place to be. And so we don't forget that it's not good to fight a war or all these kind of things. So we should think about it from that direction. And that's why we think we had a time where we didn't post in Instagram and social media.
Over a week. It was extremely difficult to look at this watch, look at this movie.
And then he said, well, what are you talking about? Things. I mean, but then you thought about a lot about this, and you were writing about this, and I think this was very, very motivating, and you got a different view on the situation, and we need to try to use the positive forces in the world to get rid of these problems, to avoid this kind of stuff happening again. And I think only positivity can do that. And autocratic or tyranny is rarely connected to joy and fun on a broader scale for society. I never saw that, I think. So I see that in Western value societies and in an open society and democratic societies, that people enjoy life, and I think that's important. The question was, can we leverage this community? And we are a very small company. I mean, we don't need to be naive. We can't. We are just in the midst of building our company and trying to grow that whole thing, and we are collecting a community and bringing this together and try to make good products. So we are not swimming in cash, which we could give away and help everybody out. But
we have watches.
And sometimes we have watches which have a specific meaning, and especially the watches in a very early stage of a project, like we did it with this tourbillon. So perhaps we thought it might make sense to make the Superseed $1 draw.
Yeah.
In the tourbillon 1, we actually managed to have 1,131 donors. So a significant amount of money came together. And we would like to do that again, and probably we'll get some feedback from the people, because, you know, the war won't stop tomorrow. And the after effects will also not stop tomorrow. So there will be a long period of suffering and problems coming along. And I think we have some room to raise some money through through a more fun project and help get a little bit over this whole misery and put this money to work and help the people who need it.
Yeah. So if you have some suggestions, we're looking at some ways of getting some possibly some fresh foods and everybody to those that are fleeing Ukraine at the moment, and run it similar to how
we can't ship weapons. I mean, that's for sure. I mean, we are not in position to provide weapons, and it's probably also not our job.
I think food is
food is probably something which makes sense, and good food is something which makes people happy all over the world, and I think that's something which we are seriously looking into. And also, on the other hand, the producers of that food, we have been strongly dealing with crowd farming since Corona. Actually, since the Corona time, we are actively buying through crowd farming through Spain and Spanish, Italian producers directly, and we thought it might make sense to conduct this Superseed 1 draw with this crowd farming community, and they also have an initiative already going on, and actually they get the food from the farm to Ukraine and Poland, where actually there's a hub where the food goes in, and I think that makes somehow pretty much sense.
On one side, I mean, food, when we donate it, it comes usually from a major producer somewhere, whereas this comes from, you know, mom and pop type producers that can really use that support, and they're producing an excellent product. It's usually a bio or a organic product, and it's going direct to the people that need it most, and it's a good fresh product. Something that is typically not in the donation side of things. So this is what we're looking at, and of course, if you have some other suggestions, you know, let us know in the comments. Send us an email.
It's a process. It's a process.
It's a process. Yeah.
Yeah, and the Today Life was kind of an unnoticed thing, because we all have been sick from Corona, by the way.
We are all recovered now.
Everybody's recovered. The whole company was down, kind of, and so we said, okay, we need to go in front of that camera, otherwise we lose our skills here.
And we did lose our skills a little bit in the setup today, as always.
But you know, I mean, we will get over that. And so let's look into that, and everybody who wants to contribute something, we are actively building this whole thing now. And building this concept, and perhaps we can top this tourbillon thing and make something good in a very short time period. So that would be cool. I like that. I need to go back to that logo, by the way.
It's
pretty cool. Like that.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool, and it is so true.
Yeah,
freedom is the most valuable thing in the world. People, don't forget that. It is important, really. And it's awful to see that people have to fight for freedom. I mean, imagine, just think about that. I really hope that this thing finds an end. However, I don't know. So let's go to some other very interesting and actually very fun thing. Is one of our customers. Talking about community. Arthur, you are here, huh?
Arthur is here, He's in the comments.
And we shouldn't disclose, actually, because of the GDPR, but I think he doesn't care. Since we are using our friends from the Muppet Show, he actually was so kind and sent us this clock. This
Yeah.
You call it a clock, yeah?
Yeah.
I think I need to switch into a full screen thing.
Yeah, we need
because
full
we need to
screen here.
really have a look at that thing.
Yeah, there
So,
we are.
look at that. Those guys, huh?
Yeah. I don't know what's going on with the autofocus.
Autofocus
Yeah,
is
maybe we're-
so.
Yeah. Yeah. But we get the idea.
It's amazing.
And the alarm's
that
going to go
top?
off here pretty soon. I set the alarm on
and
so
it
that-
came in that box, you know.
Yeah.
So it came in that box. It's a little bit. I think the problem is I have a white T-shirt and you have a black T-shirt, and the whole camera thing is a little bit mixed. But it says Horage prototype K0.1 Roterberg.
Yeah.
So you're wondering what the hell is that? and this clock, I think, will actually follow us through the future lives.
Yeah,
I
pretty
guess.
soon we can get a necklace and we just wear it here,
Yeah.
you know, for the show. But it's our first serious fan mail, you know?
Yeah, it's the first serious fan mail, and we got it sent, and it's amazing. Can we have a look at that under the microscope? You know, forget that watch parts. I mean, this is real watchmaking here. Look at that.
Look at the dial details on that. Yeah.
Look at the guys.
Yeah.
That's why the Grenchen watchmaking school needs that projector to.
I like
and
how
you know
that
that
second hand.
hand is. That's really amazing. I love that thing. Yeah, it also has an alarm,
Which is set right now.
which is set right
We're
now.
going to hear it very soon.
So probably it wakes us
yeah. But,
halfway through our discussion.
yeah.
So I'm getting back into our front view mode, and then we are switching into the screen. So yeah, what was it?
Ruterberg.
Ruterberg
Switzerland's
is
smallest mountain.
it's Switzerland's smallest mountain, so that's why he said probably K0.1.
Yeah. Because there's K1, there's K2.
K1 is 8,000 something high, and K2 is also 8,000, and so probably we use K01 for some prototype in future, and then we probably should make a launch event. I mean, that's a mountain we can climb.
Yeah. I don't know if there's much climbing involved. It's more of walking.
It's a hill. Yeah. So thanks, 1,000 thanks to Arthur.
Thank you, Arthur. Yeah.
On that thing, it was.
And he's getting in the comments here.
Yeah, we're getting into the comments.
So we can go into those.
Watch counts in some way, because let's be honest, the luxury watch industry has benefited greatly from. Yes, I agree.
Russian oligarch money.
Yes. On our side, I have to say, we do not know any of those big ticket customers.
Actually, we've never sold a watch to Russia before. I don't think ever. Possibly.
I'm not sure. I think probably one or two, but for sure not an oligarch. And I actually wouldn't really want to sell to people like that. And I agree. Yeah, the watch industry definitely, and in greater perspective, the luxury industry obviously has a tendency to kind of sell to people who made the money probably not always in the most justified way. People say we shouldn't get political, but I mean, of course we have to. I mean, the whole thing is too important. And
The entire world is getting political, whether they like it or
yeah,
not.
of course.
So,
I mean, it's same like people complained about the Olympics shouldn't be politicized, but they are, and that's the reality, and we have to deal with it. And the only thing we can deal with it means we are facing these things which are not okay, and help the people who need the help. And if we can do that, and if we can raise money, and I hope the whole watch industry is getting more clear on the support, then there would be this would be a good thing.
wonder how many franchise stores are over there.
A lot, but I see the majority of the industry, or a lot of luxury industry, actually has shut down stores, which on the other hand is also a pity, because there
there's
are
people
also,
employed.
there are a lot of employees, there are a lot of people, normal people, Russians, who want to just enjoy life.
Yeah.
And they are suffering a leader which obviously has not the same understanding of Russia in future. So I'm pretty sure that the majority of the Swiss watch industry is going the right direction, and also the majority of the luxury industry, and that part of the money they make can be funneled back to helping in this industry. But we have to be aware, as an industry who is dealing with fun products, that there's also some kind of a dark side to it. Yeah. Good.
Okay.
So we are getting back to.
So we went up the smallest summit all together today.
Yeah.
Thank you again for the amazing clock. I'm sure the alarm's going to go off here pretty quick.
Yeah.
And what other
We're always looking sometimes here.
Yeah, I'm looking at another computer. So
Yeah.
Is that 3D printer a Zortex?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, Arthur says he knows a
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, actually we bought one. Marcus completely nerded out on getting into 3D printing after we bought that CNC machine. And now he's printing actually the cable clips for my studio here and all kind of things. So I'm very happy about that. And we will upgrade the next printer having 2 different materials. So we are learning here. It's good stuff.
We got some of that stuff laying around here.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think
next slide here.
let's. What's the next on the thing we want to talk about? Status Superseed. Yeah, there are a lot of people who got to know us either through Tourbillon or through Superseed. So Superseed is our ongoing project. I think we are doing very well. And I need to switch slides here. I saw. So where are we right now? Technical prototyping Superseed, I would say currently we are in the 3rd round of movement parts. So we got new plates from Kevin, machined on a GF machine. Lots of redesign has been done in order to reduce components. And I think we talked about that last time. And I was wondering where are the components gone? But obviously that's the fun thing. I mean, the art of making a good movement is reduce components. Every component which is not there is a good one. Every process which you don't need is the best one.
Yeah.
Because everything which is there can have a problem. And if it doesn't there, if you don't need it, you have less problems. So really we are putting this stuff together. Jonas is actually testing. And
he's doing it right now.
Yeah, he's doing it right now. And the first thing is to make sure that this functioning GMT mechanism, that the spring and this kind of stuff is getting on the level we want to have it. I think we will for sure need another 2 or 3 runs, but until the end of the year we should have that under control.
We will have it.
What we also will do with these next samples, we will enter into further testing procedures, aging tests, impact testing, run tests, all these kind of things continuously. So over the period of the project, I assume we will destroy around 50 to 100 movements in order to figure out what's going on.
Yeah, and that means that the next technical prototypes are going to be finished in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And it will be finished in time for the next pre-order round.
Yeah.
So we'll be back here live, going into detail. We'll actually be showing the movement functionality in the first pre-order round. If you remember, we were unable to show the total functionality of it.
And the plan is also to send out some of these prototypes to other people.
Yeah, to media.
To the media people, because we didn't do that, because usually they're the media people, sometimes they don't like when you send them prototypes because they probably didn't really understand our way of working, and we have nothing to hide, and a prototype is there to develop, I mean, it's not a perfect product, but we don't want to run into that kind of thing, into this discussion. So, but having it in the hands and letting people communicate about it will for sure help to raise more awareness about the project and hopefully bring more people in, and so far we are very happy.
And the micro adjustment buckle is also going to be part of that as well?
Yes, micro adjustment buckle will also be part of that. It's now the 2nd sample we will receive. It will be 904. It will be actually much more aesthetically pleasing. I mean, that was just a raw thing machined out of a block of metal. But since the functionality is very good, we made some minor changes where we saw already this might be adjusted, and then we will hopefully have it on a strap, on a bracelet.
The tooling is also done for the straps.
And then we can show it more. Shall we show? No, I think we don't need to show stuff right now.
We're going to show a few other things.
Yeah, we can show that later.
Yeah.
So all in all, waiting for case, of course, we also said that we potentially want to have a look at the case from the side without that groove, because that groove on the side, in my opinion, makes it a little bit noisy.
On the camera.
Yeah, we can show it on the camera.
Wait,
I need to
side.
switch here in my. Luckily, the CPU is down again.
There we go.
Black Magic. So that side groove is something which didn't come out very well in the first prototypes and which is very, very difficult to control. So we do not want to run into a problem.
Adjust the camera there.
Yeah, a little bit further out, I think. So it is, I mean, it doesn't help us a lot if we go for some design decisions which create problems. That doesn't make any sense. So we really need to be very clear on that kind of thing. And personally, I have seen the animations and the 3Ds without the groove, and I have to say it's also pretty good. So we have to decide on that, and we need to, because there are a number of things also with the crown protector which cause some trouble, and we really don't want to have trouble. We don't want to ship products which have trouble, and we need to be honest with everybody. If we can get this under control, if we can have this high quality finish or not, and if not, we need to decide for something else together with you. So, okay.
Yeah, so somebody's just asking a question, will the 24-hour dial be independent of the main dial 2-hour hands for local and home time? I think it means, or will the 24-hour GMT or day and night be slave to one of the two main dial hands? So the 24-hour subdial on the left-hand side there, it's going to be slave to the home time. Yeah, so that you can, and it also is loomed as well, so you're able to see a loomed and an unloomed version of what home time looks like and be able to follow the 24-hour time on it.
And that's still, I mean, the dial in the hands you see is still this not very orange because the underground finish of the hand was not there. So
yeah,
you're still talking first prototype stuff.
Yeah.
But so that's going. No one need a groove here.
Just problems, collects dust. Yeah.
Yes, that's another thing which we are thinking a lot is because you probably don't want to use a toothbrush all the time and clean off that groove. But that's something which we probably could accept. The question is the factory able to execute this in a larger volume, consistently, perfectly sharp-edged, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
So if factories hate designers and companies who give them shit products to make or shit designs, and it's up to us as a company to decide about, is that good for production? And we have to be very clear, we do not want to put stuff in production which gives the people a super hard time, because nobody will be happy. There will be shipping delays, there will be customers complaining. So that's why we are open with this kind of thing. And at the end of the day, I think everybody wants to learn something about manufacturing and designing watches, and that's what that project is good for.
Yeah.
So I think we should first look at all the samples, discuss the options, and then make the decisions. And probably someone has a problem with that. Finally.
But that's normally the process.
That's normally,
but a brand normally doesn't involve people in that.
Someone asked on rotor.
Oh yeah, Microrotor, osmium, iridium, platinum.
Uranium. No, that's the wrong stuff.
Yeah.
Microrotor, let's put it here. That watch starts running I didn't wind it, yeah?
No, I know.
Just wind it a little bit and it's already there.
It's super efficient. Yeah.
We wanted to talk. Do we want to talk about Microrotor right away? That was not the plan, but since someone is asking, we are.
Well, we're not able to announce what material we're going towards, but we are. Between the second and third pre-order round, this is where we're going to iron out all the technical details around the Microrotor and the finalized material which we're going to use. Because up until this point, it's been focusing on getting the movement to a technical prototype phase. We haven't decided on the rotor material there. It's sort of insignificant with the actual operation of the movement itself, the functionality. And then obviously prepare the new cases, hands, and all that for the technical prototype. After that's completed, then it's into rotor and water resistancy. And that's where Marcus is going to come in, and we're going to do some stuff there and try to do some real world testing of the water resistancy for you also. We're going to stay out of the rotor material just now.
I mean, there's an overall thing which we can say, it is inherently difficult to deal with precious metal.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, no matter what you use, the problem is it's getting stolen. Mm-hmm. You need to have a machine which you can easily clean out or only does precious metal. You have all kind of regulatory issues in Switzerland, stamping that stuff, and so
pays to be the house.
Yeah, housekeeper is always cleaning around that machine. Why the hell is he doing that? So it's inherently it's not only the material cost, it's also processing that stuff, which is when you do not do that all the time, like a big watch brand which is selling a lot of gold watches and they have their own facility. For us, that's definitely a challenge, but we try to make that happen and try to figure out if all this works. Can a case look like it has the groove, but it's an optical trick? Yeah, this would be another thing to look at. So
we're answering one of the comments here. It's maybe you can have the case look like it has the groove, but it's an optical trick. I mean, you could do something with you know, like a satin.
That's the question to our boss. Finish. I think on the non-crown side, it's kind of okay, but on the crown side, we have this problem here because there's this how do you say? You have the crown protector line coming in here, you know, crown protector line, and this one. So there are a couple of lines, and there's this groove line, there's a crown protector line, and then the crown protector needs to have also very clear finish. So that's all. These are all very tricky things, and you see it already on the edges of this crown protector because we cannot access that correctly. It might be that we need to look into a detachable, which is attached afterwards, so that this can be finished separately and more crisp and sharp. From the looks, because now it's a little bit too roundish. That's not acceptable for our quality understanding. And our big boss will be anyhow angry.
But she's right.
I mean, the level, she's right. She's 20 years in the business. They have designed thousands of products and they know what the level should be. And if the factory has a hard time to overcome it, then it's like alarm red. So we need to react to that. But we will find, I think, a solution which will work for a lot of people and will produce a very nice product overall. It is, by the way, a very nice product.
Yeah.
Okay. So do we have any more questions?
Nope, no more questions here.
Let's move down into the next slide. Our next project, current ongoing project, that's why many people know us also. Wait, I need to switch into a different screen face. So, we're back here. Tourbillon 1, wrist check. You have one.
Yeah, I have the Frankenstein.
The bastards, the bastard style. Wait, let's do that.
Yeah.
Please.
Oh, I mean, let's see if we get my...
Wait.
Where are we at here? We're at the mouse distance here. There we are.
Yeah, that's the bastard, or how do you call it? Yeah, it is.
I call it Frankenstein.
The Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Put together out of leftover parts.
Yeah.
And I have a pretty, one of our traditional ones. The first autark with this carbon fiber unidirectional dial, which, by the way, I put together by myself in the factory in Thailand.
Really?
Yeah. We brought the carbon fiber dial from a bicycle factory.
Over this way a bit.
Yeah, from a bicycle factory in Taiwan.
And put it right under the camera there.
Yeah, I need to have a look. Because, usually carbon fiber is, many people just know it as a woven material. But I am a bike guy, and bike guys know carbon fiber as unidirectional because that's what it was made for. Because the strength is, the carbon fiber should be straight, and so you can see that. You can see these fibers. These are very, very small fibers, all in one direction. And everybody who has a carbon fiber crankset or something like this from a good maker will see basically on the inside very often this is unidirectional. So we got the material from Genio Jeff, which is in Taichung, one of the best frame makers, brought it to Thailand, to Subdial, and then explained to them how to put that together. And we actually used some toolings which they have in order to press that together. That's completely perfectly straight. Yeah, and that process came through us to Subdial, which I'm pretty proud of.
This is probably the only unidirectional carbon fiber dial.
Another brand actually adopted
really?
it. Another brand adopted it later.
Okay.
So we started it, and then of course you don't develop that just for one company like us. You develop it actually for a factory and said, you can sell it to someone else. And some people, you see that here now?
Okay.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, that's one of the very first samples. You see the calendar is a little bit etched out, but it gives a it's not black, and it has this brownish kind of look. It's super cool. I like that watch. So back to full screen.
Yeah.
That was a wrist check.
We should probably look at this other screen here that we have.
Wait, I need to switch that stuff here. So we are back into the game. So we are shipping. People are assembling watches. We are shipping not as fast as we would like to. That's why we have sometimes some people who complain, and we totally understand that. And we wish we could do all that much faster. We have been through the first batches of COSC certified chronometer certification. So everything is moving. We are 120 pieces to go, which is a lot of work, but we got trapped. We have all these parts, but we got trapped in, can you give me those parts?
We have them up over there.
Yeah, we got trapped into, I'll show you that stuff. I'll probably open that. The biggest problem is that we have not enough machining capacity on the available machine we have at our disposal, at our supplier. And so we need to actually do all that step by step.
Yeah.
And that is kind of the pain point we have right now. So these are, what does it mean? Why do we have shipping delays? Because the whole world is kind of maxed out and everybody has a logistics problem. We also have that. And so we need to arrange with our supplier that we do not book all the entire capacity, and basically during night we fill the machine with our parts, and during the day they do other parts. And and so batch by batch we go, which takes a lot of work on our side also, and it also increases the cost. Design lacks sophistication.
Thank you.
Could we get some input for
some input?
How do we improve?
Gimmick at best. Okay.
Gimmick at best. Okay, who are you? I would like to invite you here.
Yeah, come on over. Our door is open.
Can you type my phone number in there?
Yeah, sure.
So FDFAC. That would be cool to see you here. And in case you have some better design suggestions, we are always open to anything. You can give me a call right away.
I got it right here.
Yeah, +41.
Yeah.
I'll hope for an orange strap. The orange strap thing, it's in discussion here. Okay, so that's type my name.
Yeah.
So I'm always very happy if someone has some complaints or anything, give me a call. That's my phone here.
Yeah.
Is he gone or still there?
I don't know. Comment stuff.
In any case, please communicate to us in a way that we can actually respond and improve. If someone has thinks that there's some improvement needed or some better suggestion and stuff, we are always open.
Yeah. But some more details would be nice.
Some more details would be nice than rather it's
Yeah.
a gimmicky thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go back to this tourbillon parts. Yeah. In order to overcome that, so you have to imagine what we are currently doing. We are effectively going step by step, always 30 batches, finish them, do the next, finish them, and then put the stuff together. It would be much more easy if we would have 150 sets finished in one shot, and then we can let our assembly run. But that obviously in the current situation with all these tight bottlenecks and everywhere is not possible, and we need to work around that. And that's why we actually added an additional manufacturer in the midst of the project. Cool people here in Biel, extremely well-equipped workshop. We found them in January, already knowing that we are running into capacity issues. And we are doing right now programming, and next week I hope we can start machining additional parts, and this should speed up stuff.
Yeah.
Because I would love to get all the parts out, and I know, Landon is the guy who needs to answer a lot of emails to a lot of people.
And I feel very much like a broken record sometimes. And
it's horrible. It's horrible.
And from one day to the next, from when I write an email, there could be something that comes up. Somebody gets corona, or possibly something changed. Somebody scratched some bridges.
Yeah, and our biggest fear is that the one supplier we have, the machine is breaking down. Yeah. We had that problem already. We had a last year delay, and it's a small supplier, and they do not have so many machine capacity. So adding a second manufacturer and extending this, and also getting our own machine ready in order to get more safety in the supply chain. It's super important, and it's a lot of work. I mean, I wish we wouldn't have these delays.
Yeah,
believe me,
it's the worst feeling.
Yeah, it feels bad, and it is bad, and we understand people when it's half time, Arthur, do you hear that?
That's your clock.
Your clock is obviously it works very well. How do you switch it off then?
This
off.
There we go.
Good.
All right, the alarm function works.
The alarm function works.
Actually, we're 45 minutes into it, Andy.
Okay, so we decided actually that we touch on some other topics during our lives, because we should actually communicate a little bit more. We don't make a walkthrough this time, but we were digging out a topic which people often ask us, and which we want to start to talk about. And then, and probably learn something from that, and get people a more deeper insight into engineering and watchmaking itself. So what is that? I have actually a couple of parts at the beginning of our show. Under this microscope, I will bring them back. And we are seeing... We are on the slide. We are on the slide. That's okay. So, let me switch that here. So, Black Magic. So, what do we have here? These are two of the balance wheels, of the three different balance wheels we have designed, developed, and use. On the right side, you see actually the kind of original one, which we used in K1. On the left side, you see the latest thing, which we have been starting to use in the tourbillon and then in the K2. And this actually derived from the one with the musclot, which we used in the Autark 10 years watch. And many people ask us what's the difference? What's the difference between these balance wheels? Actually, it's not about the difference of these balance wheels. It's the question of how do you want to regulate the watch. Yeah. Right. And it has, also we are not in the picture here. So we would like to start to talk a little bit about, in each of our live shows, on some specific topic. and then dig deeper into that. It's not that we just do that one time. Just getting used to it. So let me switch back to our screen here.
Challenging things that gimmick brands can't really talk about.
Yeah, gimmicky brands can't talk about stuff because gimmicky companies usually don't do engineering and they don't do their stuff by themselves. So we try to, everybody who knows us and people who buy our products know that we take engineering seriously and also designing products, and we get pretty deep into that. And I would say there are not so many companies who can actually develop 3 different regulating systems successfully so that they can go through chronometer certification.
And soon, manufacturing.
And soon manufacturing that. Not just going somewhere and buying stuff from the shelf. Because you could do that, obviously, and many companies do that. So understanding the math behind it and understanding what actually makes these differences and what is relevant for production is super important. And when looking at type of regulation mechanisms in watches we currently see on the market, we have these 3 types, whereas 2 of them have the same idea behind it. So when originally our first K1 was an index adjust, and that is actually, I have another picture here. What does that mean? You don't see any screws there or anything. It's just a balance wheel and a spring. And it doesn't really matter if you use silicone or conventional spring. That has nothing to do with this. The spring is a spring, and the spring is relevant for the beat rate. In other words, it can be traditional, it can be silicone. You can interchange that, in other words. But the length of the spring or the weight of the balance wheel are the 2 things you can play around with in order to adjust the watch moving faster or slower. And that's the big difference. And I would say this index adjustment was popular in an industrial Swiss method. It's an industrial Swiss method for large volume movement production. So the big famous traditional movements, 2892, 2824, and these kind of standard workhorse movements, originally from ETA, then Celita, usually have index adjustment. And it looks basically like this. I will switch here into Blackmagic again. So switch that. So what you see is
just a camera up and down.
Yeah.
I'll get it better.
There we go. Yeah. So what you see here is an index adjustment system that regulates the watch by adjusting the effective length of the spring.
So you basically cut the spring to get the right size.
Kind of, yeah. But you don't really cut it. You actually limit the movement of the spring, and the spring is fixed on that place here, this part. Or this part, and then it goes through that actually movable thing, which can be moved left and right, forward and backwards, making the spring longer and shorter.
Can get a little bit closer on that too.
Yeah, and so that's what you see here. Well, okay.
And just so you know, we have a plastic cover over top of it, so you see
some dirt.
Some dirt and
so you see that screw, and with that eccentric screw, you could technically move this part back and forth, effectively reducing the amount of effective spring length or extending it. And you can also turn that and open the gap and close the gap. And all these things actually help the watch regulator to regulate the watch and make it move faster or slower. In very simple explanation. It's a very simple explanation. We probably should do a little bit more deeper when we collect more slides and more material. But that's what you instantly can see when there's such kind of regulating screw. Whereas the funny thing is, you do not need that screw in order to do that. You can also, and that's what most of the watchmakers do, is they use a plier or something and move that by force over there, because there's a friction clutch in between. Why do they do this? Because they want to have the slot of the screw straight. It's an aesthetic
aesthetic.
question.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with accuracy.
So the watchmakers usually don't use that. Only the watchmaker in a store very often uses it.
Okay, so this one.
Yeah, this screw.
Yeah, so maybe point to that there.
Yeah,
so.
this screw actually, either this screw can be moved around, so left and right, it's eccentric.
Yeah.
So then
But aesthetically, they want to keep it straight.
aesthetically they want to keep it straight so that this part is moving back and forth, you know. But you can also do it by force. And we should probably try to set up some kind of setup with Lenny on a watchmaker table next time so that he can show how to do that.
Yeah.
And in this way, actually, the spring is fixed on the upper part, and then you move that thing back and forth and effectively extend the amount of movement the spring has or reduce it. And that's and there are tools, you know, automatic tools in order to do that. So the watch industry did that, and this was the most common way of doing it. But because of that not fixed length of the spring, you have chronometric issues, and the precision is not as good as if you would have a fixed spring.
You can still meet chronometer certification, cost with it.
Yeah. But on when you really want to get into the high performance chronometry, then that's probably not the right thing to do, and you will get better run rates in all kind of positions and so on when you have a fixed spring. And this fixed spring mechanism, then how do you regulate that when you can change the spring length? You actually have to make the balance wheel more heavy or less heavy, in other words, more inert. It's not more heavy, it's just the weight is moving outside or inside. And this means in relation to the spring has less force in order to move it faster or slower, depending on the screws going in or out. So you can see that on, let me go back, and very easy to identify is that you do not have, so in the supersede, so there's only one thing, you know, there's no other part which actually could limit the movement of the spring. So the spring is really fixed here on that part, and it is fixed to the middle, which you don't see here. My pliers are too big and dirty, and so you can see how it is moving. And so if you want the watch to move faster or slower, you actually have to move in and out these screws here.
That up there.
So the screws, and when you move them out, so it will be actually the spring has less power, so it's moving more inert, longer beat, and the watch technically should move a little bit slower.
Okay.
When you move it in, it is more easy to move that balance wheel. The beat rate or the amplitude will go down and move faster. In simple words. And the same thing applies to muslot. So the same principle, let me go back here. Same principle. You can see, so this, the screw type and this, what do you call Wäscheklammern? You know, for the
clamp?
The clamps where you, for the laundry.
Oh yeah, like a pins, clothespin.
Clothespin,
Yeah. I don't think it's really clothespins used in this
but
case.
it looks like the clothespins actually, when you turn them outside, they will move more weight to the outside.
There's more mass.
More mass outside, more inert. Moving it inside, less mass. So the big question is now, why did we walk away from this muslot stuff and why do we move to the screws? There's also an explanation to that, because the weight here moves on a circular thing. So it's not linear. When moving actually the mass to the inside, it is actually a non-linear type of adjustment, makes it very hard to adjust. Okay, moment of inertia. Thank you.
Yeah.
The English things are, I need to practice a little bit more on the English part of the watchmaking side. And the problem with these clothespins, with the musclots, they are actually not creating a linear direction where the masses are moved to the outside. They are actually on a circular path, and so it's not so easy to exactly predict, and the watchmaker has to have a lot of feeling for how much you actually have to use it. So it's also not very convenient for industrializing, I would say, because the screws, you can actually measure how many cycles is doing what. And we will, in some later lives, we'll probably invite Lenny, who is doing all that all the time, and he can exactly tell us how many seconds, what kind of rotation on a screw is make. He's a master
balance wheel man.
Master balance wheel man.
Yeah.
Sometimes he has no gray hair. Actually, he doesn't have hair anymore because he is regulating all that stuff, and it's super fascinating to see that. So, having said that, you can easily find the difference in a watch when there are these two things. So one is actually holding the spring end, and the one thing can be moved back and forth and limiting the freedom and the length of the spring in order to make it move faster or slower. And this kind of thing is more, we could cut it away. You probably don't need that. It is just there from history, and people thought the watchmakers are using that in order to do the laundry clips.
And then the other thing is directly on the balance wheel is you don't have the screws.
Yeah, you don't have the screws. It's cheap to make. You probably stamp that out in mass volume. But, I mean, we are entering a world of watchmaking as a hobby, and we expect high chronometry in our products, and that's why we go that direction. And it's also good for us internally to learn about that, to get all the know-how, to understand the theory behind it, to be able to manufacture such a complex balance wheel. I mean, you need to do that without distorting it on the machine, because these parts are super sensible. I mean, that's the thousands of a millimeter game, and turning and machining at the same time on such a thin and small part creates some distortions, and you don't want to have this. So not many companies can do these parts in Switzerland, I would say. Even the big guys are buying it from highly specialized suppliers, and you can count them on one hand. That's a little bit about our watchmaking history or learning. Clinics, you call that clinics?
Yeah, clinic on the balance wheel.
Clinic on the balance wheel. Yeah.
Technical expert here. I'm along for the ride today, so.
yeah, good. So we are pretty much done. 1 hour gone by.
Yeah.
Let's get back to making sure we do not forget that we have to stick together in the Western world. And by the way, I read a very, very interesting thing about the Western world. Doesn't mean that it's in the West. The Western world is characterized by values which countries share. They can be anywhere. For example, Japan is not in the West, but it probably follows Western world values. Same like Taiwan or South Africa. I was a little bit surprised.
Yeah.
United Nations. I didn't expect that.
But leaders can't speak for a population.
No. And that's the biggest problem, you know. I mean, if you think about it, still there are some guys who believe they need to have a bigger country or whatever. You know, I mean, what's that?
Yeah.
It's really, it's beyond any imagination, to be honest.
Maybe it's the one more watch, you know, thing. Just a little bit more land. Yeah, just another watch.
Yeah, probably like that. Yeah, I have this feeling that there's something seriously wrong.
Yeah.
But I believe in the power of the free world and freedom stuff, and I think we'll rein in these people who want to make the world not a better place. So
yeah, so be sure to let us know. You can email us, lostintime@horage.com. Everybody now has Andy's phone number, so you can message us, WhatsApp.
Keep in mind, I'm in Switzerland. This means when you are calling from somewhere around the globe, it might be that you call me at night.
No, it's not always on 24 hours. And so, yeah, let us know. Also on our forum, we're posting, we posted last week, this week as well. There's the comments there. You can always just drop a note in the comment if you have any ideas. But I think later this week, early next week, we'll have another post discussing this Super Seed $1 and ironing out some of the details there and directly getting your input to see how we can help out the folks in Ukraine or people who are leaving Ukraine at this time. So, thank you.
I will choose a black T-shirt next time.
Yeah, next time you can wear it. Yeah, you're kind of blowing out here. But
okay.
It was great to connect with everybody again. And if any questions come in afterwards, we'll send you a note here in the chat.
I will press the button now and we continue to talk because